traveling in London on a top-deck bus, begin going around Marble Arch. Do you realize that you are traveling across the site of one of the most infamous places of execution in England? Called Tyburn. Hanging days were public holidays to encourage as many Londoners to watch. Tens of thousands of people would gather to view the spectacle on the London streets. Criminals were subject to trial at the Old Bailey. If convicted, they were sentenced to their death in groups and sent back to Newgate Prison to await their death. It was rare for felons to be hanged alone because it was expensive. Jack Sheppard's case was different because of the amount of times he had escaped and the popular sensation he became in London. Awaiting their death in prison, they were only fed bread and water. Additionally, it was not unusual for some of the prisoners to die of gold fever or other illnesses before their execution date. At 7 o'clock in the morning, the execution process begins. The criminals would be untied of their handcuffs and leg irons and placed in open horse-drawn carts surrounded by armed cavalry. They began their 2.5-mile journey down Holborn, Tyburn Road, and St. Giles, modern-day Oxford Street, to Tyburn, modern-day Marble Arch. The streets were narrow, bumpy, and lined with crowds. Along the way, a stop was made at St. Sepulchre's Church, where a bell would be tolled and the minister would chant, "You that are condemned to die, repent with lamentable tears. Ask mercy of the Lord for the salvation of your souls." 2 more stops were made, where the condemned would be allowed an alcoholic drink. 2 or 3 hours after leaving Newgate Prison, the prisoners arrived at Tyburn, where they were greeted by large crowds. Amongst the crowds were people selling food and souvenirs. The wealthiest spectators sat in seats in Mother Proctor's pews. Peasants watched from around the gallows. The ordinary would pray with the prisoners, and when everything was ready, the horses would be whipped away, removing the prisoners off the carts and leaving them suspended. Agony of the prisoners would be heard as their legs paddled in the air. After about half an hour, the lifeless bodies were cut down and sent to Surgeons' Hall, where bodies would be dissected if the criminal could not afford their own coffin. These executions were in many ways a theatrical process, a way to enjoy the morbid entertainment.